Hey everybody, Brett from AstartesGaming here, back with another Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord developer blog video. Today we're looking at the developer blog from basically last week. Actually, it is last week. 9/20/2018, so the 20th, last Thursday. And it's about quests. So I would prefer that they kind of move on and, either start telling us about when the game is going to be playable and all that good stuff. But I'm glad that at least they have caught on with the kind of information we want to hear. And so they're telling us a lot more about the single player campaign than they were initially, which is great because a lot of the stuff that they were giving us before was completely useless. So without any more distractions, let's go ahead and dive on into quests and see what is new to quests in Bannerlord. So, Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord is a huge sandbox that allows you to approach the game and play it in the way that you want to. This means that there isn't a linear storyline that you have to follow. However, the game does present you with quests that offer you a way to fill your purse while improving your relations with the various notables located around Calradia. Because the game is a sandbox, we designed these quests to be short in length, enjoyable, but most importantly, repeatable. But that isn't to say that your actions in these quests don't impact on the game world. They most definitely do. In fact, many of the quests you'll be offered are generated as a direct response to a situation that is currently happening in the game. If a group of bandits are prohibiting trade in an area and have established a hideout, then you might be asked to dispatch the bandits by a local notable. Clearing the bandit hideout won't just net you a bit of extra spending money and positive relations with the person who issued the quest. Trade will flow more freely in the area, which in turn will have a positive effect on the local economy. So far, that doesn't sound any different than Warband. Some quests in Warband were spawned kind of randomly. For example, if a lot of the quests you get through the Guildmaster are just kind of like, here, do this. There's not really any thing going on in the game world that kind of directly correlates to those, although some of those quests are generated by things like that. So in examples that or in similar examples to the one they give here, things like that could happen in Warband, where somebody sets up a bandit hideout and you'll get a quest to go do that, and once you deal with it, you won't be issued quests in that area, the same quest in that area, until another one spawns. So yeah, they could play out like that in Warband as well. I believe a lot of the ones to go attack particular groups of bandits were generated in similar ways, but then there was also quests where the bandits didn't exist until you started the quest. If you accepted the quest, a bandit party would spawn and you had to go kill that one specifically. So hopefully it's less of the latter I just mentioned and more of the former, which is very organically generated quests based on things that are happening, which again was already a thing in Warband, but it wasn't the only thing in Warband, and I'd like to see more of that and less of the alternative. So while quests aren't exactly considered to be a main feature of the game and can be safely ignored if they aren't exactly your cup of tea, they do have a significant impact on the game world and can be used to your advantage in most situations. So that's the same as Warband as well. You could get by not doing any quests. There was plenty of other ways to earn money, plenty of other ways to earn relation with lords, but they were good ways, especially early on, to do those things. I mean, I don't know that they were ever a good way to earn money, but early on they were a great way to increase your relation with lords. Later on, when you are part of a faction, that becomes much easier to do in other ways. But, getting started out, it was nice to have those available. And they definitely could help direct you toward things to do, where in the early game of, Warband, it can be very hard to find a direction. And so in a lot of my Let's Plays, I start myself out as like a very minor lord, because the early game can be such a grind and you can be so rudderless that often I find it's not very interesting for YouTube videos. But, sometimes if you're doing a full Let's Play, it can be, because that's, part of the journey. But these are nice to have to kind of give you that direction. So while developing Bannerlord, one of our primary goals was to present information to players in a clear and intuitive way. We want players to understand the game and experience what it has to offer without being without it being overbearing and without them having to memorize a manual. To do this, we decided to rework most of the existing, I don't know why I tried to say exiting there, existing screens from Warband, as well as introducing new ones, of course. The quest screen is one such screen that needed revising. Yes, it did, and it looks like it's been revised quite a bit. So we can see active quests, we can see completed quests. That's new. Before, it only showed you your active quests, and you had to, I believe you had to actually select the quest to see how much longer you had, but I don't know why I'm doubting that now. It's only been like a day since I played Warband, I should remember this, but now we can see very clearly you have this particular quest and you have 20 days to do it, or you have this particular quest 30 days to do it. And it looks like, is this like a progress bar maybe? I'm sure they'll tell us, so let's just keep reading. So in Warband, quests were displayed and tracked through the notes screen. The screen contained all of the information that the player required to complete the quest, but it was a little simplistic. That's an understatement. With Bannerlord, we redesigned the screen to display this information in a clear way, using visual elements to help convey information to the player. Overall, we think the new design is easier to understand at first glance, and we feel it is a vast improvement over the entirely text-based design of Warband's note screen. Definitely, yeah, it's definitely an improvement. So they don't really say what this is. I'm wondering if it's like a progress bar, and so there's like 3 stages to this quest. Oh, so at least 3 different groups of looters, and I'm assuming this is for each group. So yeah, it is kind of a progress bar, like group 1 of looters, group 2, and then when you hit group 3, you're done. So that's cool. I don't know that there was any progress tracking in Warband. I think it was just like you kept doing it until the quest said that you were done and you could go turn it in. So this is kind of nice to know that you're working toward it, because, you know, for all you knew in Warband, you maybe weren't even attacking the right people. But we didn't just stop there. In Warband, finding a quest could be a quest in itself. You have to ride around the map speaking to different NPCs in the hopes that they have some work to offer you. With Bannerlord, we have added an exclamation point to portraits of characters that have a quest to offer you. There's also a special icon for designating portraits of characters that you will need to interact with in the course of a quest. We think that such changes keep in line with our goal of representing information to the player in a clear way, while also removing the tedium of trying to find a quest. So it's very RPG-like, but I like the change. It's definitely going to make it easier to do quests in general. And so it's nice not having to go around and ask every person, like, hey, do you have a job for me? Hey, do you have a job for me? Hey, do you have a job for me? We'll know if the person has a job for us because they'll have the exclamation point. And so that definitely saves time. You don't need to just kind of wander around. I mean, you'll still need to wander because you need to find the people with the exclamation point, but at least you don't have to waste your time talking to them. You'll already know whether or not they have something for you. It's just a matter of whether or not you want to do it. So I do like that change, and it's nice that they mark the people involved in that quest for you, so you don't need to go around and ask, like, hey, are you the guy I'm supposed to be talking to? You'll already know. And you can kind of see that up here. So those look like exclamation points. I'm not sure what these are. It's too low resolution on my screen to see. I could blow this up, but I don't know if you guys would be able to see it. So they have exclamation points indicating that they're the ones to talk to, and then they have something else, it looks like, that I guess doesn't indicate that they need to be talked to. Alright, so overall, we think that the little touches and changes like these will be more intuitive and user-friendly for players, while being a nice improvement to the game experience for returning players. And then it looks like next time they're going to be talking to a UI programmer. Okay. So, all good information there, but I would have preferred they talk more about the types of quests. Like, it kind of started that way, and then they got more into just like the UI and the mechanistics for it. But I'd like to know more about the types of quests they're going to give us. Is it going to be more like cattle herding? Because I don't think anybody wants more cattle herding in Bannerlord. In fact, probably just get rid of it entirely. Or at the absolute very least, make them follow you like so many mods in Warband, because the actual mechanic of trying to herd them in a straight line was so ridiculous. I think the first and only time I played like true native, I could not believe that that was a thing. And then every point on from there, I, at the very least, even if I was playing native, had something that modded that specifically, because I was so just completely fed up with it. So hopefully no more quests like that. I also really was not a fan of a lot of the go kill this bandit party running around the map quests, where you could fail if another party beat you to it and killed that bandit group, but you would never know, because how could you know that somebody beat you there unless you like turned up just as it happened? So things like that, I think I would prefer to go without, or if they could find a better way to do it, that would be great. Obviously, doing like the bandit camps and stuff are fine. It would be nice if they would expand upon that a little bit more, because in Warband, the bandit maps were always like really frustrating to deal with. The terrain was awful, and then the bandits would like spawn in waves at different locations, and so you basically clear the thing front to back, and then by the time you get to the back, they've respawned in the front. You had to turn around and do the same thing again, and usually you had to do it a couple times. So it'd be nice if the bandit outposts were more like maybe more like castle sieges. I think that could be really well done, and rather than it be a full castle, it could just be sort of like a smaller makeshift like palisade type thing, and depending on how big it was, maybe you could deploy some of your siege machinery to do it. I think that would be a lot of fun, because it seems like the sieges are going to be one of the highlights of the game, and so getting more of that, especially in dealing with maybe quicker versions of it, could be really cool. Or even just having them like hole up somewhere and you have to go in, but definitely not having to like, you know, clear it over and over again just to technically clear it once. But anyways, that's all I've got, so we're gonna go ahead and end it here. If this blog post is interesting, I'll cover it. If it's not, then we'll skip it. And I'm gonna keep making videos on that one particular forum post, because there's still information in there that we haven't covered. So I'll see when I can get around to that. But a lot of stuff happening with RimWorld these last couple weeks and these next couple weeks, so I'm very, very focused on that. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I had a great time talking about some Bannerlord with you, and I look forward to seeing you guys back here for the next video.